Okay, fellas, so this is my short guide on how to make friends as an adult man. You can access it. I will put a link for this below. Let me go over it in this video. Okay, so there's essentially three steps to this: meeting lots of people, knowing how to talk with them, and then maintaining and deepening the friendship, which might be the hardest part, really. I mean, depends on what kind of person you are, I suppose. So, meeting lots of people. There's tons of ways to do it, and it's way easier than you might think. One is attending social events from Meetup, Eventbrite, even Couchsurfing has weekly events in many cities. It tends to attract maybe like a certain type of people. I mean, you can see if it's your kind of vibe or not. Um, but yeah, Meetup is like pretty much everywhere. So if you're in a big enough city, even in small cities, sometimes you might find like bar meetups or like things related to hiking and sports or even crypto and business and what have you. Okay. And by the way, you don't need to drink if you go to a bar. A lot of people are like, oh no, I don't want to go to bars because I don't drink. Just get a Schweppes or a pineapple juice or something. It's fine unless you're really an alcoholic and you're afraid to be tempted. Then fair enough. So when you're at the event, I've made videos about this. Doesn't matter how you approach someone. Okay, you just go, "Hi, what's your name? Where you from? Whatever." They expect you to approach them because they're there to meet people. So that's why it's the easiest way to meet people. So you don't have to worry about, oh, is it weird if I approach strangers? By the way, no, it's not weird to approach strangers, not even on the street. But if you're a total beginner, this is a great stepping stone. Okay. So if it's at a bar meetup, very very easy. If it's something like a conference or a workshop, you can be like, do you know the speaker? What brings you here? What do you think you're gonna learn? What have you learned? Yeah, couchsurfing, same thing as meetup. Initially couchsurfing is to crash on people's couches or to host travelers for free, but they have these meetups as well. And the couchsurfing hangouts function, that feature, I'm going to talk about it soon. Another way is to post on Facebook groups. Even if you don't use Facebook or you think nobody uses Facebook, I use Facebook mostly for Facebook groups, really. Your city probably has a local group. You can be like, hey, what's up? I'm looking to make friends, or anybody want to go hiking together, or anybody want to do this and that. Or you can use it to create your own men's circle. I've made a video about how to create a men's circle, which I recommend. I think, if you're a man, you should absolutely join a men's circle or start one. Subreddits are great too. You may think Reddit is just like full of assholes. Turns out you can just go on the subreddit for your city and be like, hey, want to hang out? I like doing this and that, and it's likely someone will answer. Sometimes people don't answer. Like I posted on a local group for a small town, and I had a bunch of people like my message, but I had to message them to make something happen. So Facebook groups, subreddits, like really, try Reddit. You might be surprised. Then of course there's apps to meet people. Okay, like Bumble BFF, Friender, stuff like that. Listen, I mean, I tried Bumble BFF once or twice when I was in Barcelona. I think I got in touch with some dudes. I ended up not meeting them. I don't know why. I forgot about it. I didn't want to. Whatever. But I could see that there were some matches, so it could work. I don't know about Friender, but there's a bunch of other apps like that. And as I said, Couchsurfing Hangouts. That's a feature of the Couchsurfing app. You basically go like, hey, I want to get a beer. I want to get coffee. I want to go for a walk. Whatever, and then people can join your hangout, and it creates a chat. And it's a bit chaotic, it's a bit hit or miss, but it can be a way to meet people. Now, of course, this is mostly for travelers and expats. You're still going to get locals using it. Depends, on the city, but mostly there's going to be a higher percentage of expats and tourists, but it's worth checking out, okay? Now, approaching people in public. As I said, you don't need to do that at first. I highly recommend you do it, especially if you want to get really better at meeting people and you want to meet tons of people. But you can start with a meetup and then start trying to approach people in public. Coffee shop, bar, in the park, on the street. Because as I explained here, most people actually enjoy talking to strangers. Okay. There's research about this that I've mentioned in several of my videos. Even when people think they're not going to enjoy talking with strangers, they actually end up enjoying it, even when they're introverted, socially anxious, and all that. And so here I put this question: how often are you bothered when a stranger makes conversation with you? Probably never, unless it's a nut job. Now, okay, some people are bothered by it. Some people hate it. Hopefully, that's not you. Maybe you're afraid that the person you're going to talk to is the kind of person who doesn't want strangers to talk with them. Well, so what? It's going to happen. You're not committing a crime. Okay, you're slightly bothering someone, maybe, and the odds are low. They're going to get over it, and you're going to get over it if they don't actually want to talk to you. So that's the thing. That people are like, oh, but what if the person doesn't like me, or what if they don't want to talk with strangers? What if I'm being annoying? Honestly, who cares? Like, it's okay. Hopefully, you can read them well enough that if they're not into it, you just leave, wish them a good day, and it's okay. Like, you can always think, oh, what if this, what if that? You always do things every day that are going to potentially cause problems to people. So, but as I said, most people are totally cool with talking to strangers. At least that's my belief. Feel free to disagree. I've made a video about the observational approach. It's basically, approach someone by commenting on someone that stands out. It could be about them or about the surroundings. You can be like, oh, what's up with this? I mean, basically, it's like hot weather today, huh? But it doesn't have to be about the weather, and it could also be like cool shorts and whatever. Opening with a compliment is just great, especially personalized compliment, not just like, not just you look hot, Actually, if you say that to a guy, they might be happy. Like I enjoy it when a straight guy compliments me on my looks. It's like it is actually a way to bond. So some guys might think it's like too gay or whatever and be weirded out, but it's like this cliche, right? When you start working out and you get like good muscle mass, you actually don't get compliments from women. You get compliments mostly from men. You do get compliments from some women, but yeah, someone's reading a book, talk about that, ask a question about the book. You're at a coffee shop, you're going to be like, what do you recommend here? Are you from around here? And this is a great way. I'll admit it, I haven't tried this one. I always think about trying it, and I always forget. How open are you to having a conversation with a stranger from a scale of 0 to 10? And then you got your answer. So if you're bothering them or not. Chances are they're going to think it's a fun way to approach them. I think I got this from a meme or something. Like someone posted that on Twitter, but it was with a drunk stranger. You don't have to be drunk to do that. By the way, approaching strangers, it can even be more fun when you're sober, and going to bars, socializing. People think it's going to be boring. If you're used to always socializing when drinking and then you stop drinking, I know a lot of people find it boring and it takes a while to get used to it, but I also know some people suddenly feel this childlike sense of wonder and everything just seems so much brighter. So again, like I drink occasionally. It's cool if you do. I do like to emphasize the fact that my advice is super duper applicable to sober people and sober curious people, even more so because my whole thing is like you don't need alcohol to meet people. So okay, what's this one? Using your existing network, and so this is even if you have 0 friends and you've just moved to a new city, as I say here, you might have current acquaintances or past acquaintances. Maybe they know someone who lives there, but maybe you don't. But let's say you do. Message them saying something like, hey, I might go to this place on Saturday. Certainly remembered you, and maybe we could catch up. Especially if you've lived in the city for a while, you might vaguely know some people. And you might think, oh, there's just a colleague, or there's just some dude. It's just some dude I barely know. It's going to be awkward if I message him. No, like you have nothing to lose, okay? And now those acquaintances can make you meet more new acquaintances and potential friends, and that's how you create a network. I was talking with a friend recently. He said that now he unfollows people on Instagram when he realizes, oh, I barely know this person. I don't do that because what if I'm going to their city and even if I forgot who they are, I can go like, hey, are you still in this city? I'm gonna be there. I want to, I'm looking for stuff to do and I want to meet people. Do you want to meet up? Okay, so even if you don't know their name, they're likely to say yes. Like if they're social, so it's always worth it. Okay, now we're getting to this part. Yeah, knowing how to talk with them. I mean, I've made so many videos about this. I will make many more. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like it's super complex because, I mean, at the same time, like at this point, I've made over 80 videos and I'm going to make so many more. And it can make it seem like there's this whole complicated science. And yes, the more you know, the better it is. I want to teach you as much as possible. That's why I make these videos. But I also don't want you to think that you need to learn about this like hundreds of hours before you can take action. Okay. At the end of the day, making friends is pretty simple, and all the advice I give you, either from stuff I learn, new stuff I learn, stuff I've learned through personal experience, or my thoughts, etc. I've lost what I was trying to say now, but yeah, like hopefully it helps you more. But the most important is taking action. Okay, so meeting people is one thing, but how do you actually talk with people? Okay, one thing is embrace genuine curiosity. What does that mean? Well, it's one thing to show interest by asking questions, but when people hear the advice, oh, just ask questions, like, well, what does that mean? Okay, because if all you do is like ask questions, that may not be enough, right? That's why I wrote here, don't be robotic about it. Because if you're just asking a series of unrelated questions, especially if they're superficial, if you're like, what do you do? Do you have siblings? Which neighborhood do you live in? Well, it's like, are you really showing interest in the person? So, I mean, you don't need a list of questions to prepare. You could, like go out and socialize with a list of prepared questions. Why not? Honestly, and you will actually find some in my friendship builder document. It's at the end of this Google Doc. So, and it's also it's going to be in the description of this YouTube video probably. And it's free. You can download it. It's a way to keep yourself accountable. It gives you challenges to telling you exactly how to approach people. Anyway, but if you're really interested in the person, you should be able to find your own questions about this person if you're curious, right? So you got to develop that curiosity, and ask follow-up questions instead of just a series of unrelated questions, okay? But then also, don't make it like an interview, in the sense that you also want to be offering your own thoughts. Hopefully, the person is not too lame at when it comes to socializing. They will ask you questions as well. But yeah, you want to be able to offer your own thoughts. Like you're allowed to talk. Okay, you can aim for maybe like 60% listening, 40% talking, or whatever, or around 50-50. Sometimes it's gonna be 90-10, whatever. Like you'll feel it out. But so yeah, follow questions. Ask them to elaborate on things. If they talk about a hobby, ask them to tell you how that works. What do they find fulfilling about it? What have they learned doing it? Yeah, what do they love about it? Stuff like that. What's your favorite thing about it? What's your least favorite thing about it? Have you made friends this way? Have you thought about monetizing your hobby? Yes or no? Why not? Don't be too quick to judge. If they express an opinion you disagree with, feel free to say you disagree. Like don't pretend you agree unless you really want to avoid conflict. But don't immediately start trying to argue with them. Instead, ask them more about why they think this way. And this is, in my opinion, life-changing. Truly, it really changes the way you interact with people if you're generally not too judgmental and you don't. Because if you're the kind of people who just judges people based on their beliefs and opinions, like, okay, like maybe don't listen to me. But if you're open-minded, then like, okay, you're a hardcore capitalist and you're talking with a Marxist. Okay, you may think, oh, what an idiot, but maybe you just try to be like, oh, it's interesting you think that way. Like, can you tell me more and whatever? Unless you really want to try to change their mind, which you will not, most likely. But so yeah, try to use curiosity rather than judgment. Quantity versus quality. Um, a lot of people, when it comes to friends or when it comes to anything, a lot of people preach quality. Like it's not the number of friends you have that counts. It's the quality of your friends. It's like yeah, no shit. I agree. You're much better off with two close friends than you are with 100 buddies that you're not very close with, right? But in order to find those two close friends, you might need to meet 100 people or 200 people or whatever, right? And so the goal of meeting as many people as possible, which is what the friendship builder will help you with, because the goal of the friendship builder is to help you meet 100 people and to deepen those friendships. The goal is to make you just more confident and more comfortable, but it's also to just help you find the people that you're going to click with. Okay, so that's why you really have to go for quantity at first, at least. Okay. Um, Another thing is let people be curious about you. Just like I said earlier, like yeah, listen and ask questions, but allow yourself to also share things and be a bit vulnerable, maybe share things about you. Help the person you're talking with by creating branches that they can use to that they can use for conversation, right? Like add more information. Like if they ask you a question, like for example, like what do you do? Um, instead of just saying, for example, well, I work in IT, you can say, well, I work in IT doing this thing for that company because I really want to do that, whatever, right? Like give some more information so they'll have different elements to um, hold on to and use to further the conversation. Okay. Um, Now, more tips here, just some quick tips. Compliments, they're massively underrated. People don't compliment each other enough. You will make someone's day by complimenting them, especially a man. Compliment people on their style, their energy, intelligence, etc. And if it's someone you know, then you can compliment them on a consistent character trait and say something like, "I love how you always do this. You're always like that." And I'm going to give you an example. I complimented a new friend recently. I made this friend traveling from Koh Chang to Bangkok, and we had this like group of friends we had met recently, and we had like a really great time. And it's this girl from Poland, and after meeting her like maybe 3 4 times, I told her I love how you always point out what's funny. Like I told her, she's very good at observing funny things, and I like the fact that she points it out. She sees the humor in things. And she was so touched. She was like, oh my God, that is such a sweet thing to say. And I was happy to see her feel happy with my compliment. So that's something that's really about her personality. Okay, what's the other thing here? Do not humble brag. Either brag or don't brag. I would lean towards not bragging, but if you do brag, just go all the way. I haven't linked to the study here, but there is a study about this. Humble bragging has been shown to make people less likable. So keep that in mind. Humble bragging is actually very annoying. I'm sure you'll agree. Make eye contact. Now, don't stare at them the whole time. Supposedly, you should make about 50% eye contact when talking and 70% when listening. But I mean, like, I'm not sure obsessed. If you're obsessed over the ratio, it's probably going to be counterproductive because you're going to be thinking about the eye contact ratio instead of being focused on the conversation. Okay. Um, but yeah, because I used to be bad at eye contact and I trained myself to get better. And then I ended up just staring at people. And I would sometimes get comments, like, "Oh, your eye contact is very intense." And now, like, I try to vary the ratio, right? So don't think about it too much. Just try to make more eye contact, but don't be a psychopath. Don't overthink stuff. What do I mean by this? So what I believe is that overthinking and being self-conscious are two related things that are maybe the biggest barrier to authentic socializing. So, I mean, listen, who cares if some people think you're weird or awkward? It doesn't. Nobody's thinking about that. Like when you're like, oh no, like I'm being awkward. Oh, they think I'm weird or boring. They're probably not thinking that. They just want to have a conversation. Okay. So at the end of the day, just meet enough folks, show interest, and you'll meet the people who are right for you. So let yourself be weird and awkward. It doesn't matter that much. Just don't be an asshole. Be yourself, but don't be an asshole. Now, did you meet a few people you think you might become friends with? If yes, organize a group activity with them, preferably something that no one has tried before. And that's going to accelerate and increase bonding. At least most likely it will. It's been shown that doing a shared activity, especially one that's new to everyone, does make it easier to become friends. And now, like, if you want to get even further into this, it's even better if you do something like something that expands your or reduces your sense of self, rather, and something related to like how small you are in the universe. You're like stargazing or something spiritual, meaningful, something like a camping trip, like looking at the stars, whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be that. You could go play beach volleyball or regular volleyball, whatever. It's cool. And now the best thing is if you can create a group activity that you do every week, like at least once per week or once per month, whatever. Let's say once per week, ideally. And you do that with the same people, maybe plus some other people that also join. That can be a great way to meet new people. So then you have a group activity that you do with friends, and you like that's how you bond, and yeah. So maintaining and deepening the friendship. Let's go. What do we mean by that? Well, you're gonna have to be the person who initiates. Because if you're thinking, oh, they haven't messaged me, so they're probably not interested in being friends, cut the bullshit. Okay? Because sure, if you keep initiating and they never do, especially if they often say no, then maybe they're not that enthusiastic and you should find another friend. Okay? By the way, can you just tell them, I thought it would be cool to hang out, but I feel like maybe you're not very interested in being friends, which is totally cool. Should I stop asking? You can ask that if you want, or you don't ask. You can just ignore them. Whatever. But at the very beginning, someone has to make the move. That's my point. Okay, so make the move 2 or 3 times, and if they say no after 3 times, then maybe they're not interested, and you can move on to the next person. But you have to be the person who initiates, and people appreciate that. Most likely the person will really appreciate it because it means that you find them to be a potentially valuable friend, and that you like them. Like, oh my god, someone's thinking of me. That's great. Well, this is something I just went over, group activities that you do regularly. And now to deepen the friendship and get closer, there's one thing that you essentially cannot do without if you like legit want to get close, and that's vulnerability. I made a video about it, I think called "The One Thing You Need to," something like that. There's Millhouse from The Simpsons on the thumbnail. If you're not willing to open up and encourage the person to open up, you're not going to get that close. Okay, a lot of guys might say, well, men become friends by doing woodwork together or watching sports. Like, come on, yeah, sure. Okay. That's one way to, I mean, personally, I don't particularly relate to that. I like to talk, okay, not just do stuff together. Both are great, but I like to talk. But even if that's how you bond with men, by watching sports or doing sports or whatever, you still gotta at least gradually get to the point where you get more vulnerable. Okay, I mean, still gonna talk about stuff. Or maybe you think that's not necessary, and if it's enough for you to just not talk about personal stuff, then fair enough. But I mean, inevitably, you will get closer if you choose to open up. But maybe you're scared. But then why are you scared? Because you're afraid to lose people, and what, you're afraid to be yourself. Come on, dude. Like, grow up. We're adults here. And yeah, this is, I mean, story about my friend. I'm not going to name him. But yeah, we had met recently, the fourth or fifth time we met. Like by that point, we'd had some like very deep personal conversations. And he told me, you know what, Matt? I never shared this with anybody before. And I was flattered, but I was also shocked. I was like, well, fuck, man, that sucks. You're 36 and you've never shared these things with anyone, but you've shared them with me, some dude you met like 5 times. It's messed up, and it really, I think about that all the time because it opened my eyes to the fact that a lot of men just don't have enough close relationships, close friendships. And if you're okay with that, then fine. But I'm not, and that's why I make these videos, okay? Now, we're almost done here, but let's talk about the liking gap. This is very important. Basically, it's a phenomenon. When you meet someone, you're likely to think that they liked you less than they actually did. Okay, some scientists did this experiment, they ran it, and consistently that's what they found. Like, let's say I meet someone, and then the scientist asked me, how much do you think they liked you? I'd be like, 6 out of 10. But they actually liked me 8 out of 10. And they're like, well, how much did you like them? I'll be like, like 8 out of 10. Then they ask that person, like, how much did you like Matt? I'll be like, I liked him like 8 out of 10. How much do you think he liked? Anyway, you got the point. Like, I'm getting this is not good for retention. It's hard to explain. I tried to. Well, it's not hard. I'm just stupid, I guess. I'm not stupid. Don't talk about yourself negatively like that. Self-deprecation is good, but you gotta be careful how you do it. Self-deprecation is good if you want to make friends, actually. So that's the liking gap. If you think people didn't like you, you're probably wrong. Sometimes it's true. Of course, like, there's people I don't like, and there are people who don't like me. As shown by the hate comments I get occasionally from a few trolls, and then sometimes constructive feedback, I suppose. Totally doesn't hurt my feelings at all. I'm a man. Okay, so listen, that's the friendship guide. Hopefully that helps. But I think something that's going to help you even more is my friendship builder. So check out the link on this Google Doc, or the other link in the description of this YouTube video. I'll make it probably another video about it to show you what it looks like. Just click on the link, download it. It's free. You'll have it within like 10 seconds. And I highly, highly encourage you do that. And I also want to know what you thought about it. Okay, leave a review. Because this is really, because you're watching these videos, you're reading my newsletter maybe, and it's good. Like, I want you to learn this stuff, but I'm afraid that all you're going to do is learn about it and not act on it. And again, that's why I created the friendship builder, so that you don't need to hire me as a friendship coach if you don't want to, whether it's one-on-one coaching or group coaching. You can just, that's like the simple, easy way to do it without hiring me. Okay. And it should really help you. Okay. Well, with that said, thank you for watching.